Welcome to On the Line with Reverend Sheffield, a television program surrounding shared topics of our weekly broadcast On the Line, live on 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grandriver at Wyoming. On the Line with Sheffield focuses on community transformation by socially educating and empowering the people. We are committed to in-depth investigation, social change, and personal elevation. What's on your mind? It's On the Line with Sheffield.
Oh, man, what's happening? That's my music. Y'all make some noise up here in the house. We're on the corner of Grandriver in Wyoming. We do this every single Saturday. Last week we had a tremendous turnout, about 150 people here. Marched down Grandriver, blocked the street to the Great Faith Church. Made it less faith after we got done with it. And silent march, of course, you know, some of our people got attacked by the horses. It was really a mess. The chief called me about anybody who made false reports about the horses was going to be arrested. And when I told him, well, you have to arrest the vice president of the UAW because her son almost got hit by a hoof, and she happened to move him in time, then he kind of retracted. People here heard him. He said it on TV and everything else. And they should have arrested with those folks at the gate that was hitting Bullock in his testicles. And I was there, you know, and I wasn't about 62 years old. I wasn't about to do what I used to do. So I told him I wasn't going to move until the horses moved. I mean, y'all see what happened? Did you see what happened last week? And here's what you need to know. And I'm not a racist, you know. But the only people there, white officers, were on horses. They came into the middle of the crowd with kids for no reason. And then when the black officer, who was the command officer, who I was dealing with face to face, and he was saying, yes, sir, no, sir, will you do this, sir? And I said, yes, sir, we'll move as soon as the horse move. He told the horses to move 8 times, and they would not move. He had to get on the speaker on his walkie-talkie and have someone else tell him to move the horses, and they finally moved them. It was a mess, and there's no way in the world for you to justify that. No one was being violent or whatever, and it all happened because I decided, not Bullock, I decided to go to the gate as a pastor in this community who knows Wayne T. To see if I could get in. And I have the ticket on my desk, by the way. I've heard from clergy all over this country, major preachers that I know who have mega churches who all say it's an abomination that you need a ticket to get in the church. And I told the media my ticket was paid for not only by the blood of Jesus Christ, but by the blood of Martin King and Malcolm X and anybody else who fought for us to have a right to vote. And all you folk, and I'm leading to this, all you folk who are indifferent and intolerant tolerable toward Trump, you need to burn in hell if you don't get out and vote. Because anybody tells you this election is not to me, the most important election I've ever been a part of, because I'm a student of history. And when Adolf Hitler ran for chancellor of Germany the first time he lost, before he consolidated his strength, his theme was make Germany great again. Go read history. Make Germany great again. The same vitriol toward immigrants, toward Jews, toward people who had suppressed what they thought was the vibrancy of that nation, engaged in condemnation toward them and prejudice. I mean, what are we seeing right now? I'm geek, man. I'm fired up. You know, and people gonna tell me that what's the difference? The difference is day and night, hell and heaven. You know, I mean, going backwards or going forward. I mean, please, don't let these people tell you that nonsense. And I'm so sick of them trying to paint this woman with a bad brush. I could just snatch the easel. You know, any person of any kind of student of history knows that that's the first thing they do, is to vilify the person, to make you believe that this person is terrible. But anyway, we've got, and that's my spiel for the day. We're gonna let it's Harry Lennox from the 5 Heartbeats. Man, that was a great movie.
Thank you. It was great to be a part of it. 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It reminds me, of course, of the Dales. I mean, that I don't know if it was fashion on them or not, but
it was.
But they're basically, you know, that group is, for all intents and purposes, gone, and that great music of the era Listen, my friend, and I'm going to say this when we talk politics. When I was 17, 18 years of age and I couldn't find the words, I would find, music like that only meant to wet my feet, I mean, that kind of stuff spoke for me. And I don't know how girls already, I don't know, man, we have more breaks than we have time. But anyway, let's say a word before we go off there. Tell her to hold it for 1 second. I'm like Kevin Adele this morning. I'm holding the break for a minute. We've got a great legend here. You go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us why you're here supporting Hillary.
Good morning, Detroit family. It's great to be. I'm from Chicago, so I'm your cousin down the road a little bit. So it's good to be with you here for the Hillary 2016 campaign. It's been going fantastically. Love being here. So I look forward to talking to you on the other side.
We're going to take a break, and you can call in 313-209-9000. You should have you geeked up and fired up by now. If your worker ain't waiting, go get some oil. I got a match. We'll be right back after this.
Peterson, Mayberry, and I'm the Community Relations Director for UAW Ford, and I'm very excited to be here this morning with Reverend Sheffield. I think shows like this are important because they're in the community. So it's a grassroots network in the community where people from the community can voice their concerns, get pertinent information relevant to them and beneficial to them, and equip them with some of the things that's going on in the community. Plus, it's accessible. You can call, you can get your question, and you can come down, and I think that says a lot.
All right, we're back and live in the Jefferson. Y'all make some noise up in the house. And by the way, this brother's also on blacklist more pertinently and more currently. And let's go back to you real quick before we take our callers and find out why it's important for you to be supporting Hillary. You're out here, you're actually putting some sweat equity in this. You must believe strongly that we should support her. Why?
I had the great pleasure of meeting the secretary some time ago, and I've been an advocate of the Clintons for a very long time. I believe that there is not one issue on this campaign with which I disagree with Secretary Clinton. She is the most prepared, the most qualified, the most capable candidate of many, many election cycles, if not all election cycles, right. But there is no choice here. There's the one thing to do. There's no option for anyone who is conscientious, anybody who is conscious, anybody who cares. And so it is my obligation, my duty, and my firm commitment to do everything in my power to make sure that we motivate the people to get out there to vote. I don't have any doubt that the people in this community, the people in the community where I'm from, know who the right person to be the president of the United States is. But the question is, polls do not vote, opinions do not vote, people vote. And so it is my intention to try to motivate people to get out there and cast a vote.
And you know, I've told my church on Sunday, and I've gone to other congregations, preached somewhere last week on the Lower East Side, and a lady said to me, I'm not feeling Hillary. I said, yeah, but I'm feeling Trump. I'm feeling what life would be like with him. I'm feeling the kind of America this would be if his kind of vitriol rules the day again. We're talking about racism. We're talking about all kinds of things that we have been trying to excoriate and rid ourselves of. And so you said you've known her, you believe in her policies. I mean, what is the most frightening thing before we get back into her that you think Trump represents? I mean, this past week suggesting that he could read into what the presenters of national security was saying, and of course we find all that not to be true. I mean, he's a big liar, obviously, but what is it that's frightening to you about Trump that might motivate some people out here who are listening who kind of buying into that nonsense of, you know, they don't really feel Hillary?
It's a very good question. I think that the thing about Trump is that we don't know. And I think the greatest fear that we can have is the fear of the unknown. He will say anything at any time for whatever effect he's trying to get in that moment. And so, you know, that kind of emotive, people talk about feelings, somebody who might govern the country based on his whims and his mood that day, that's a dangerous proposition.
It is.
People talk about emotion and love and enthusiasm gaps and all of these things, but as you know, Bishop, and as you know, Reverend Lee, the word love in the Greek means it's an action. Love is a verb. It's what you do.
Right.
And so we talk about, so even if you don't have some gushy feeling about it, you have a duty to make sure that you can do everything in your power as a parent, as a community member, to do everything in your power to make your community secure, better, to bring about the prosperity that everybody has a right to. And so if it's not a feeling, then it should be a certain knowledge.
Yeah.
And we have that knowledge. And Hillary Clinton, we know, is for us.
Well, since you're on the track, you can use a little biblical stuff since you call me bishop.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
The Bible says judge them by their fruit. Now,
yes.
I get the New York Times, the Sunday Times at my house, and I read in great detail that front page story about Trump's father and Trump and what they did to exclude African Americans from housing, publicly financed housing in New York areas to forestall and forbid integration. And this is part of his history and his lineage. I mean, people look at me, and there are many people I don't have to tell the story to. Most folks know my dad and what he did. I'm an extension of my dad. I mean, that's how I was raised.
That's right.
That's the crucible I was churned in. And so when you look at this man's whole history, I mean, this is not something that just began. This is something that's been a part of his genesis, and it should not be necessary for revelation if the Genesis already tells you who he is.
Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grandriver at Wyoming.
Shows like this are important to the community because they give a platform to like people who live here and have lived here for generations, a voice to express like how they feel and about what's going on in their communities. A voice is a very important thing to have. Without it, things happen to you, and no one ever knows. Your story's never told, and that's exactly what Horace Sheffield and On the Line allows us to do. It allows us to continuously tell our story live and in color, and so I'm very grateful that we have the opportunity to have this show.
By the way, we got some No Trump Detroit T-shirts. We gave you one. We're going to raffle off some for you all who are here today, by the way. And by the way, I want to give you these donuts too, man. Take them with you on the trip. This is a Sugar Ring Donuts. They provide my donuts, and they customize them with a box. And these are donuts that are made by young people who are in high school. And everything that I do here has some kind of rhyme or reason. So we support that small business. It's an amazing thing to have kids in high school who are making donuts and deliver them to you, to your site. Rev, you got a question for Brother Lennox?
I would just like to know if you have an idea as to why the email situation keeps coming up over and over again. How many ways can you say, I made a mistake, I wouldn't do it again, but that didn't seem to take care of it?
That's it is a persistent question, Reverend Reverly. And thank you, by the way, for the donuts and the German.
Don't eat all of that, man.
Not all at once.
They'll be casting you for Santa Claus.
They're already working on it, bro. But as always is the case, when I go to a good place, I walk out with more than I came in with. So
good.
This is fantastic. But to give you an answer to the question, the email thing is all they have. They don't have any other issue that they could bring up. It is a non-issue. It's a silly debate. We can see no negative effect of her having a private email server in her house or wherever. She did everything that she could in her power. She was an excellent Secretary of State, visited more countries, all of the, and then they just found out, by the way, that Colin Powell did in fact give her advice on having a private server and all of these things. So everything she said about it has been transparent, has been true. She has been forced to go out here and apologize for something that needs no apology, no further explanation. This is nonsense.
Angelique Peterson Mayberry, UAW4 Community Relations Director. I'm on the line with Horace Sheffield.
It's an amazing thing. To be perfectly honest, we run a leadership training program here where I help people become nonprofits, and I have 45, 50 people in that class, and 10% of them who were in the auto industry, displaced, lost their jobs, are supporting Donald Trump because they believe he's going to make America great again, which they think means we're going to save American jobs. The TPP and all of that kind of stuff that they've used. How do you speak to that?
Well, you know, you would have to show me where his policies as a business owner of declaring bankruptcy whenever it suits his political purposes, where he puts his name on buildings that he has absolutely nothing really to do with. He has sold his brand. He's good at that. He's a TV talk show host or whatever it was that he did. But I don't know of any net impact, any service that he has provided that did not benefit him first and primarily. So you would have to prove to me that the existence of something before I can argue it. But I do know that Hillary Clinton has made the policies.
Yeah, there's no question on balance that Hillary, and for that matter, the Democratic Party, is where the best interests of African Americans lie. Anybody who believes otherwise, in fact, I'll say this, and people will probably call and get mad. Every Republican that I've ever met has been a Republican because they want more for themselves. They're not really people who are focused on what's in the best interest of others. But we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear another 10 minutes. We're going to pull some T-shirts and some cakes, and we're going to have a great time. Come on by. We should have an opportunity for you to get some salmon croquettes and biscuits and the other things in a few moments.
Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grandriver at Wyoming.
I'm Scott Holliday, and I'm running for Wayne County Community College Board of Trustees in District 4. I'm also the Deputy Director of Movement Politics for Michigan United, and I'm on the line with Dr. Horace Sheffield.
I want to remind you that on Thursday, September 22nd, right here in the Sheffield Center, the DABO Manor Community, New Destiny Church Pride Community Association, West Lawn, Sub 3 Community Association. I saw Mother Powell here somewhere. She's helping to organize this community. We'll be meeting here, having a crime prevention discussion with the Chief of Staff of DPD's Chief James Craig's office. We'll be doing monthly Gleaners food distribution, Best for Vets. We have a young man here who helped a 92-year-old veteran who never got his benefits get a $100,000 plus check. In fact, Rogers Foster, who just taken my pictures for 20 years, came in here on, was it Thursday or Friday, and found out he's a veteran. He's never gotten any of his benefits. And this young man over here, Styron, who is a decorated veteran who runs our Best for Vets program, will be here talking about how we can help. And then we do a Halloween party for the kids in the Christmas party, Make Christmas Merry, raise about $10,000. Jurgensen Ford, black-owned dealership there. Mr. Brandenburg is chairing that. We do a lot of great work here, but if you want to be involved in that community activity, Thursday, September 22nd at 6 p.m., come and meet with us and have an opportunity to not only talk about what needs to be done, but you help making it happen. We've been blessed to have this brother from Blacklist and not the white list, the Blacklist, and that's doing quite well, Harry Lennox, and of the 5 Heartbeats, and he was the brother that made the decisions. You know, he was like the Melvin of the Temptations. I'm going to make everything right. We're going to keep this business. I love that scene when you go and catch my man, and he's like all messed up, and, you know, you want to just break his neck.
Yep.
And you seem like that's part of your personality, too, huh?
Well, with that particular guy, it is. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I hear
that's
you. You know, you don't find a lot of people in your position that lend their voice. One of the things right now I'm dealing with the NBA and the fact that they don't do a lot of business with African Americans, and we have a Bust the Balls campaign, and we actually meet with the Pistons next week about this. Why is it that we don't find more people who are notables and have notoriety that are willing to lend their voice like you are to things that matter to everyday people like this?
Well, I think they've been conditioned to know that if you go too far out there and try to speak for yourself and do what's in your best interest, that the purse strings will be cut. You know, people get punished because they speak out and take a stance. It takes courage to do certain things. Courage is actually a great word. It really comes from the French word meaning to have a heart, to enhearten, courage or coeur from the French. And so if you don't have a heart for anything other than your personal profit, if you see yourself as the most important person in the equation, then it is unlikely that you will take the stances that will benefit the greater good. So I think that's what it is. It's a pretty equal. It's a pretty simple equation.
Right.
People do what's in it for
And
themselves.
since you using all these great words and giving us ideological etymologies,
I love it. I love it.
I will tell you that their failure to do so. Now, in this present situation with the Pistons, we've got some former and present players have come together through an equity forum and say, you're right, Reverend Sheffield, only designated people are able to continue to earn money from the NBA even after the fact. And the attitude is, you guys make enough money between the lines, everything after that is ours. But I'm going to say this, I'm using a little Latin, for people of your notoriety and prestige and influence not to involve themselves is a praxeological non sequitur. It's a practice not rooted in reason. And saying that because by them doing it, they really make it more difficult for people to punish them or to engage in the activities that they're afraid if they speak up against, would further curtail their activity. You follow what I'm saying? I mean, the more people are silent,
Right.
the more what is wrong exists and persists.
That's absolutely correct. You know, you have everything in it to act with the principles that we learn.
Yeah.
You know, do something for yourself, do something for others, and that really does provide a benefit. But people get scared and conditioned into thinking.
Yeah, my daddy said when you don't speak up for yourself because you're afraid of dying, you're dead already.
Hello, my name is Simpson, and I'm on the line with Reverend Horace Sheffield.
That's been a debate we've had, and right here in Michigan, I've been involved in every election, presidential and otherwise, and Bishop here knows that that's a struggle we have right now. There's no money for ground game, and the presupposition is she's going to win Michigan, but I wouldn't take it that lightly, quite frankly.
No, nor is she taking it lightly. She is not taking any vote for granted, and so the point is that I can show you she is put down in her book, Stronger Together. She's put in you can find this anywhere, but she's got $1 billion dedicated to trying to amend the situation with the police violence,
right,
and to make sure that that drug sentencing reform happens.
Yeah, but
that right there is
what we're talking about here is traditionally, and I've been a part of this. For example, when President Obama first ran, he had no real ground game, but he had something going for him that was unusual. Mm-hmm. And so there was no need for what we normally do in terms of GOTV. Second time around, it was a different race. He was more concerned, so there was money put for these traditional organizations. Even the unions right now, for example, because I deal with them all the time, I'm not really certain what funds are going to be available for GOTV. You know, we got to motivate our people, and to do that, there's got to be more money for the ground game. But that's not your fight. That's mine. And that's one that I'm engaged in with our leadership in the Democratic Party, because there's certain constituents out here that have to be motivated to get their folk to show up at the polls.
Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming.
Oftentimes people rise up and they forget where they came from. He's here in this city, and he's constantly reaching out to people in the city, other organizations, economically. He is trying to help rebuild economic wealth in this city. At one time, we owned hotels, restaurants, bus companies. There's no reason why, as a people, we can't have that economic development and improvement again, and Horace Sheffield recognizes that, and he doesn't just talk about it, he does something about it. So that's what a wonderful type of person that he is. Some folks just talk the talk. Horace Sheffield walks the walk.
Let me just read something before we go off the air. I got this from a Republican who just sent this here. It says, "We realize that the Democratic Party is a joke, and I challenge any and everyone that feels otherwise to show and to prove to me that Democrats have served the best interests of anyone. You all really need to get off the plantation and to implore other blacks to support Hillary." Now, this is from a black Republican who has no sensibility of what words mean. To be a black Republican and tell me to get off the platform when you need to get off the front lawn.
That's right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Get off the front lawn, you know what I mean?
That's right.
I mean, no, he ain't in the house. They ain't in the house. See, when they call house now, that means on the lawn. And it's what I call black faces and white spaces. And it's people who just believe that they've arrived and don't understand that the moment that they're no longer needed, that they're no longer even known. Can I say that again? The moment they're no longer needed, they're not even known. Who's called? Who that? I don't know who that is. And so, I'm this is me talking, not you.
I hear you.
Because I ain't afraid of nobody.
That's right.
My daddy raised me to be a free black man. I don't laugh if it ain't funny. I don't scratch if it don't itch. And people around me would tell you that my temperament sometimes need to be tamed. But the thing about it, and I try to tell all the people in black leadership, I get money from corporate America. I get money from DTE. I don't sell my soul. What they get from me is an opportunity for me to tell them first. See, if there's something wrong, I tell DTE something. I got to march down there, and I got access to do that. So we don't have to sell ourselves. We got to go, y'all. I'm running my mouth. Vote for Hillary.
Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grandriver at Wyoming.
My name is Simpson, and I am the production specialist for this show, On the Line with Reverend Horace Sheffield. I also do a segment on the show called Girl Gone Black, and it's so important, like my segment in particular, to get a voice for young people out there to vote, because the way that we do that is just by spreading information that they need to know about how our community needs help and how the people that we're electing in our community can help us get that through our electoral processes. So it's really important, and I think that the show and everybody who we have on the show are just so, influential in our community that they're really working for us, and I think that's important for people to know.
You've been watching On the Line with Sheffield, a television program surrounding shared topics of our weekly broadcast, On the Line, live on 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grandriver at Wyoming. This show is being brought to you by attorney Michael Fortner, Home Again Care Services, and the Facility Group. For more information on our guests or to have a featured comment on the show, contact us via email at am910ontheline@yahoo.com or by phone at 313-491-0003. Until next time, remember, if it's on your mind, it's on the line.